I want to talk about the changing face of screen printing because I've been doing this for many years and things are really changing because of technology. So here we are in the screen printing department. We have the automatic screen printing machine, and the automatic screen printing, it's a really strong, fast workhorse, pushes the ink through the screen. We can do several colors. Then it goes through the dryer. For small jobs, we mostly use the manual, where the operator would actually manually screen print. So if you're doing 12 shirts, 3-color, you don't want to go to automatic. Then we had the other automatic machine in case we have big orders. But what I want to show you is a whole new world, the whole transformation to digital printing. We started with direct-to-garment, DTG, but now we evolved into what's called direct-to-film, which is digital print onto a clear film, and then it's heat pressed. And I want to show you what it looks like. So this is actually one of the older direct-to-garment printer, where you load the garment and it prints it, and we have to pre-treat the garment. But honestly, we're just shifted from using direct-to-garment, DTG, to direct-to-film, DTF. Now, if you just look at this whole tent with the lights, for me, this is very futuristic. I'm an 80s boy, and this is like, wow, Here we are with our brand new Mimaki direct-to-film machine, and it does digital printing at really high quality. And then it goes through a process where it puts like a powder glue on top, and it goes through a heater, and later on we heat press. So let me show you an example. I'm going to send this bear design to print. We have a beautiful design here. So now I sent it from the computer to the Mimaki to print. It's going to continue on this roll. It's going to print the design. The bear design is now printing to the direct-to-film. It's called for short DTF. This is a digital print. And this is a good time to talk about the difference between printing on screen printing and printing digitally direct-to-film. So when you do screen printing, it's a long process of setup. It's a very good process. It's not as expensive, but for short runs, it's not great because in screen printing, you have to color separate the design to each color. Then you make a screen for each color. Then you mix the ink. You wash the design out. Then you align the screens on the machine. And then once you mix the inks, you put them in, and then the machine prints it, either manual or automatic. It's really good for big orders because on big orders, the setup cost, let's say it's going to be $150. So if you're doing 500 shirts, the setup cost is divided from 500 to 150. It's about like 30 cents each or something like that. But if you're doing 12 shirts, think about it. Your setup will still be $150. Now it's going to be more than $10 for setup. So it doesn't make sense to do so much setup on screen printing to print 12 shirts. And that's where even 12, 30, 50 shirts, lots of colors, easier to do with digital printing. Now, in the past, transfers where the quality was so-so. And sometimes it would wash off in the laundry. So people have this bad image of transfers. But nowadays, this is like latest technology. You can see the design coming here. So these are special inks for fabric. Nobody had to mix any inks. Nobody had to do alignment. Simply sent from the digital file to the printer. Now it prints the transfer. And for example, if we needed to do 12 shirts, we would just have to do 6 sheets of 2, cut them up. Now the transfer goes through this here. You can see the way it goes, continuous. What's wrong with that transfer? So David here, our expert, graphic designer, had me stop production because
it's way too small.
Way
it needs
too
to
small.
Be full size, about 11 inches tall.
Yeah. So printed too small, something in the settings, so we're going to resend it. Stop, the press says. So another consideration, for small orders with lots of colors, you definitely want to go digital. But also if you have a detail that's really, really fine, lots of halftone, lots of detail, then even orders of 100 we would still do digitally because you can't compare the quality. Another place where screen printing is better if you need exact Phantom color matches. For example, if you have a logo and the color has to be exact, then you might want to go with screen printing because then we can mix the ink, match it to the Phantom book, and print it. So there's all these different variables, and one of the best things to do is rely on our customer service reps to ask them what would be best for my order, because we've done it for so many years. Too many years to mention. Once the image was printed, it's going through, it's connected to actually a different machine that applies this powder. The powder is blue powder. We actually used to do it by hand. And then it shakes it. It shakes the powder off, the excess, and then it goes through the dryer. So we're going to open this for a minute, not to lose too much heat, but you see the inks are going through the heater, and the transfer is getting cooked. The bears are not so happy about that. In the past, we used to print, and then we put it manually through a tray of powder, and then go like tack, 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 tack. So this is a lot better. And the nice thing is continuous. So different jobs are on the roll. And then as you can see here, we have a big roll of many different jobs. And all the operators have to do is cut the transfers and basically apply them like he's doing here. They're pressed with a lot of power and a lot of heat, so they melt into the shirt and they're never coming off. Cost involved. With screen printing, let's take an example of 6 colors, and let's say they set up as $150, but you're only doing 20 shirts. So 20 shirts divided to 150 is basically $7.50 each shirt. Okay, so it's costing you $7.50 a shirt just for the setup. Now take that same $150 setup and imagine you're doing 500 shirts. At that point, it's only 30 cents a shirt. $150 divided to 500 shirts. So on bigger quantities, it's much more efficient and less expensive to do screen printing. But on small quantities, with the direct-to-garment, you have a much lower setup, maybe like $35 one-time setup, and then over 20 shirts, it's a lot cheaper and makes more sense. Bottom line is, setup is expensive and complicated and time-consuming in screen printing, and if that expense is divided over a small number of t-shirts, like 12 or 18 or 30, it's really expensive. But the same setup with screen printing, if it's over 150 or 500 shirts, it makes sense because the screen printing process is much less, so the setup cost makes sense for bigger orders. We usually wait for the bears to come out, but now we're doing a video. Once the design is ready, all we have to do, David cut it. Now he puts it on the shirt. We actually have a little laser that helps guide us to make sure the design is straight. Now, you can see what it looks like before he presses it. We don't even have to dress the shirt, we just lay it flat. It's at 300 degrees, 301 Fahrenheit, 8 to 10 seconds. Then we hot peel it. Hot peel means you peel it immediately. You see what it looks like? And then we're going to actually heat press it again to seal it. It has a special thing with texture, so it'll make the look less flat and more like it blends into the shirt. It's like a textured print. See the texture? It's got a little texture. So what you can see here is this is a direct to film that was heat pressed. Look how strong the white is. Usually with screen printing, we'd have to print white, flash cure it, printing it again. And then the detail, the halftones, the registration, is just like really amazing job. And in screen printing, there's the thing called a hand, meaning what does it feel like? There's an expression, does it feel bulletproof? Does it feel soft? So this is a really nice soft hand. It's not too thick, you know, it's got some nice feel to it. It doesn't bunch. It's actual ink on the shirt. It's using some of the color of the shirt. It's really like a beautiful, beautiful job. To do that with screen printing would be really difficult. It's possible, but it will take such precision and time. Here we just do it, print it. It's great. Now some people are like, yeah, but it's a transfer, it doesn't come off. No, this is special fabric ink, heat pressed really high. It's actually a very thin layer, even thinner than screen printing, and it's pressed into the shirt with such pressure and heat that it doesn't come off. Screen printing still has its place. When you have simple jobs, big quantities, there's nothing cheaper, more efficient, and better than screen printing. But any job is complicated, has lots of colors, smaller quantities. This is so much easier. Being a business person today, you really have to be open to changes, because I know from the screen printing, this whole shop, we get attached. We know how to screen print. We know it. But it's really important to be open to changes so we can go still use screen printing, but complement it with digital printing. And trust me, there's a lot of resistance to change. It's a lot of money, a big money investment, a big change in thinking, but you just can't compare the results. So always using technology, both in the physical equipment and on the computer, has been a theme in my like business life. Luckily, I really like change. Some people get really stuck in their ways, and I don't think it's so useful at this time.